Open-world games are those where the developers tell you you're not bound by rules you don't like, the entire world is yours and your decisions affect the world we've created. Do whatever you want without following a linear storyline, yet they offer unforgettable characters and stories. Today, I firmly believe these are the 15 best open-world games that are worth every penny, and you should play them in 2026.
The Legend of Zelda. Breath of the Wild, I felt the game doesn't give you a quest, it gives you curiosity. You leave the starting area, see a distant mountain and wonder, can I reach it? And the answer is always yes, by climbing, by parachute, and by your own decision, not by an arrow on a map. What's great about the game is the freedom of the open world. Yes, the game gives you the freedom to go and fight the final boss if you're a hero, of course, and have the courage. No, actually, the combat system requires skill and timing. I mean, sometimes when you fight hard with the same weapon for a long time, your weapon will break. Yes, is that a good thing? Yes and no at the same time. Some find it annoying, but I see it as a clever idea that makes you try out all the weapons, or forces you to try them, instead of just finishing the game with only one weapon. What captivated me most is how Hyrule reacts to you. Once I was holding a metal weapon in the middle of a storm, and suddenly lightning decided to teach me a lesson. Yes, lightning strikes you hard if you raise a metal weapon during a lightning strike. Can you imagine these details? I understood that nature here is part of the gameplay, not just scenery. And the shrines? Clever puzzles that make you feel like you're actually thinking, not just repeating the same solution. It's true that breaking weapons is annoying sometimes, but in other moments, it forces you to be creative instead of being stuck with one sword forever. And the art style and the calming music, they make you feel a beautiful solitude, like you're walking through a painting.
Starfield. Now we move on to another space game, but not a fantasy space game. It's something built on hypotheses and theories based on reality. The first time I played Starfield, I felt like Bethesda was really trying to make Skyrim in space, but with a NASA-punk twist, rigged screens, cool metal, and a realism that makes you believe this world could be humanity's next step. And the best part for me? The moment you leave a bustling city and head into space, then land on a distant planet with literally no idea what you'll find. I remember a moment where I laughed at myself. I spent a whole hour building my perfect ship, managing power, installing lasers and engines, and then, as soon as I entered the first space battle, I forgot about power management and it was over in seconds. I learned that ship battles here aren't a spectacle. They're about managing systems under pressure. The game thrives on 3 pillars: exploration across more than 1,000 planets, first/third-person shooters, and ship and base building that's among the best in its class. With the addition of the Rev 8, traversing planetary surfaces became much smoother. Visually, Creation Engine 2 delivers beautiful lighting and textures, and with DLSS/FSR and performance improvements, gameplay feels much smoother than at launch. But let me be honest, the numerous loading screens detract from the overall feel of the journey, and some planets feel empty or repetitive. The Shattered Space expansion was more focused and atmospheric, but reviews were mixed. And what about us? I'm excited for 2026. The Smooth Flight update, if it actually happens, could give the game a second birth.
Fallout 4. There are games you don't return to simply because you miss them, but because you crave that feeling. The world before you is open, dangerous, and alluring all at once. For me, Fallout 4 is one of those games where whenever I say, I'll try it for 10 minutes, I find myself an hour later packing my bag, scavenging for scraps, and chasing a distant horizon simply because my curiosity won out. I remember the first time I ventured into the Commonwealth. The silence was heavy, then suddenly a bullet from an unseen direction, old radio music contrasting with the devastation, and a split-second decision. Face it or turn around. The game excels at creating this delightful tension. Its addictive loop is clear. exploration, combat with VATS that gives you a moment of reflection amidst the chaos, loot, upgrades, and then a mini quest that leads you to something bigger. And the best part? The feeling of creating your own version of the experience, building a settlement, changing your playstyle, and living the daily details of a shattered world. Yes, some side tasks may be repeated, but honestly, who said repetition is annoying when the world itself is whispering to you what lies beyond that hill?
Far Cry 5. There are games that don't just grab you because they're action-packed, but because they make you feel trapped in a place that looks beautiful but is dysfunctional inside. Far Cry 5 did exactly that for me. The moment you enter Hope County, you feel like you're in a postcard. Mountains, rivers, warm sunshine. Then suddenly, you discover that this tranquility is just a mask and that tension lurks in every farm and alleyway. Sometimes I wander through the woods doing nothing but hunting, and I actually enjoy it. As for the story, it puts you face to face with a cult that controls the region in a terrifying way because it's realistic and convincing, pushing you to resist step by step, while you ask yourself, who is the real victim here? And who justifies the violence in the name of salvation? What's great is that the open world isn't empty, it's a living world, and the exploration is fantastic. As for the gameplay, it's classic Far Cry addictive. Reconnaissance, ambushes, liberating locations, and optional mayhem. I love the moments when you say, I'll go in quietly, and then everything turns into a car chase, a small plane overhead, and a bear suddenly joining the fray. The open world here comes alive with random encounters and the henchmen you recruit, and combat offers exhilarating freedom in weapons and tactics. The graphics and sound enhance the immersion, stunning sunsets and cult music and chants that get stuck in your head, and that's part of its strength as a Far Cry game.
Cyberpunk 2027. Okay, we're not going to talk about the original Cyberpunk 2027. It was a tragedy. Yeah, we all experienced that pain. But Mr. Project, that studio that says, when I promise, I deliver, now you see how Cyberpunk has literally become a masterpiece. The world? Man, Night City is amazing. Every street, skyscraper, and neon light tells a story. You walk through the city, you hear the sounds of cars and people, you watch the animated ads, and you feel like you're living in the future. Sometimes I spend hours wandering around, observing daily life, and soaking up the atmosphere. The story is rich and the characters are unforgettable. From V, the mercenary you choose, to Johnny Silverhand, the actor from Keanu Reeves. Choices affect the events and the endings. The vision and lore are deep, and every dialogue and side quest makes you feel like you're in a living, interactive world. The gameplay? Phenomenal. Character customization, weapons, cyberware, and even driving style are all under your control. Do you love direct fire, prefer hacking, or driving luxury cars through the night streets? Anything is possible. Weapons range from pistols to heavy machine guns, and every modification completely changes the gameplay. The pros? A vibrant world, stunning graphics, a character experience that changes according to your choices, and an unforgettable storyline. The cons? Despite the improvements, some minor bugs occasionally appear, but they don't detract from the enjoyment of the journey. Cyberpunk 2027 is a futuristic, free-roaming experience full of action, customization, and choices. You roam the city, choose your destiny, and live a story like no other. And that's the true magic of Night City.
Horizon Forbidden West? If you want to see what the PS5 is truly capable of, Horizon Forbidden West is the benchmark. The feeling of exploring the Forbidden West, from the neon-drenched remnants of Las Vegas to the nature-ravaged ruins of San Francisco, it's a feeling that leaves you speechless for a few seconds just to take in what's before you. You play as Aloy, and that's where the real shock comes in. You start to feel the weight of what she carries on her shoulders. She's no longer just a machine hunter. Suddenly, you're with a character trying to literally stop the apocalypse. And while playing, I had this strange feeling, man, this isn't just a game, this is a complete science fiction epic. The gameplay is tactically enjoyable. I literally spent hours just hunting Slitherfangs, those giant mechanical snakes, trying to snipe specific parts of them to upgrade my weapons. It's not just a typical fight. Every encounter feels like a calculated challenge. What's my weak point? Which weapon should I use? When do I retreat? When do I attack? And here's the moment that changed everything for me. The first time I unlocked the ability to fly on Sunwing's back and soared over the entire map. In that moment, I saw the world in a completely different way. The mountains I used to climb on foot were now beneath my feet. The vast distances that used to take ages became an epic flight in seconds. And with the sunset, the view is truly breathtaking. My only issue with the game? Managing the inventory and the different types of parts you collect from the machines can get a little overwhelming. Sometimes you feel overwhelmed by the names of parts, upgrades, and colors. But honestly, that's a small price to pay for the incredible quality and production. Here, you truly feel that your money spent wasn't wasted. A massive game packed with detail, a vibrant world, and a top-notch science fiction story. If you're looking for an open-world game that will satisfy your eyes, heart, and mind, Horizon Forbidden West is an experience you have to live, not just play.
Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Pay close attention. If you're tired of role-playing games that instantly transform you into a chosen hero with superhuman powers, then Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is the complete opposite. Returning to Henry is a unique yet wonderful experience. He's not a knight or a legend, just a young man in medieval Bohemia, learning from his mistakes, his pain, and his slow progress. Nothing is handed to you on a silver platter, and that's what makes every achievement feel truly worthwhile. The world pulsates with life, seemingly oblivious to your existence. Farmers, soldiers, bandits, priests, everyone has their own routine and their own story, and as you go, you'll realize how interconnected the society is. Just like in the first game, learning matters. Fighting, horsemanship, social behavior, even knowing who you're talking to, everything has its weight. At first, I was overconfident, got into a fight, and ended up defeated, robbed, and crawling for help. That moment made one thing clear to me. The game is fair, not easy. Respect its rules or you'll pay the price. And the graphics are, oh man, awesome. The details of the villages are fantastic. The medieval daily life and the breathtaking scenery are incredible. Well, you're seeing Europe, but 500 years ago. The combat is slow and deep, and that's what makes it enjoyable. Weapons have weight, stamina matters, and battles depend on reading opponents' movements, timing, and positioning, not on randomly pressing buttons. Every victory, no matter how small, has a personal impact. Is it perfect? No. There's fine-tuning, hunger, sleep, reputation, and some technical glitches, but that's part of its identity. It's closer to a medieval life simulation than a polished power fantasy. The real impact comes from watching Henry grow up, from a blacksmith's son to someone who understands this harsh world. Your choices, your morals, your relationships all matter, and make you wonder, what would I have done? This game isn't for everyone, but if you're looking for a role-playing game where you live the role in every detail, make mistakes, and learn, that's where the real fun begins. I highly recommend it.
Ooh, man, Red Dead is a true historical experience. You play as Arthur Morgan, a member of the Vanderlinde gang in the heart of the American West in 1899. The character himself is historical and realistic, and every action he takes reflects the conflict between loyalty and principles, between the gang and your own life. After a botched robbery in Blackwater, you find yourself on the run, fighting for survival, living the cowboy life in a way I've never seen in any other game. Man, the open world is awesome. Mud on your boots, snow on the mountains, light on the water, and even a horse you take care of yourself. Some people might say, what's the point of details like a horse's testicles shrinking from the cold? But it adds to the realism and makes you truly immerse yourself in the world. Sometimes I ride my horse in the woods after midnight, listening to the wind and watching the lightning, and I feel like I'm actually living in 1899. The gameplay? Amazing. The weapons are diverse, from pistols to bows, and the combat reflects the realistic weight of each weapon. Hunting, gathering resources, fishing in remote lakes, every activity has meaning and adds to the immersion in the world. I remember once trying to catch a fish and falling into the river with my horse. The story and characters, the dialogues are amazing, man, with the gang members and buddies, and the legendary Dutch gets your heart racing. The mental shift came when I realized I wasn't playing to complete missions anymore, but rather living the story, caring about the people around me, watching the sunset and enjoying the world after finishing the main story. The downsides? Sometimes loading is long or some side quests are repetitive, but they don't detract from the game's charm. Sometimes I laugh at the strange physics, like when my horse crashed into a tree and I fell off in the middle of a chase. Classic. Unforgettable moments? The first time I entered a gunfight in the Snow Valley, the first sunset I saw after a long day of hunting, and the first time I rode into battle with all my gear. An unforgettable feeling.
Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Let me say it from the start. This isn't your average Spider-Man game. This is a game that makes you feel the weight of the mask. The first minute in New York, swinging between skyscrapers, makes the city feel bigger, wider, and more dangerous. Not just because the enemies are stronger, but because the responsibility itself has become heavier. But honestly, I've always wanted to play a Spider-Man game that would truly make me feel like I'm Spider-Man, especially after watching Tobey Maguire's trilogy. And here comes Spider-Man 2. It gives me everything. The game revolves around a beautiful duality, Peter and Miles. Switching between them is instantaneous, seamless, as if you're actually living two lives at the same time. Peter is different here. The symbiote suit isn't just about power, it's about allure. Every hit feels more violent, faster, but something inside you asks, is this the right path? And then Miles comes in with his blue electric powers, his lighter style, like a moral compass for the entire game. The best thing is the fast and smooth switching between the two characters without any loading screens. 1 minute you're playing as Miles, and the next you're controlling Peter. This is, of course, making the most of the PS5's capabilities. As for the bosses, words fail me. Kraven, his presence is terrifying. You feel like prey, not a hero. Every encounter with him is incredibly tense. And Venom, honestly, just his appearance completely changes the tone of the game. The darkness, the music, even Peter's actions. The open world? New York is the star of the show. Brooklyn and Queens give the city a new lease on life, and the web wings make traversing a joy in itself. Sometimes you fly aimlessly, just for the feeling. The graphics make you stop and admire the reflections, the faces, the tiny details. But the real question the game leaves you with is power always a blessing, or is it sometimes a test? I really enjoyed the game, and it's true that playing Spider-Man 2018 would be better, but don't worry, you can play Spider-Man 2 and you'll truly enjoy it. Don't miss it.
If you asked me for a game that's pure fantasy, massive, and brutally challenging, Elden Ring is it, man. You play as the Tarnished in exile, and your goal, restore the Elden Ring and become the new Elden Lord. But trust me, this isn't just a story. Every step in the lands between makes you feel the scale of this world. Towering mountains, mysterious forests, crumbling castles. Everything is designed to spark your curiosity and make you explore. The gameplay, oh man, every fight keeps you on edge. From a small wandering enemy to colossal bosses, every battle demands planning and patience. The combat system is deep and rewarding, and every death teaches you something. That moment you finally defeat a boss, pure euphoria. And the open world? Bro, it's insane. You can run on foot or ride your spirit steed, Torrent, exploring hundreds of hidden spots, abandoned huts, and complex legacy dungeons. I've spent hours just wandering, climbing, and soaking in the breathtaking scenery. The story's rich, the lore is smart, and George R.R. Martin's contributions make it feel alive. Every character has a backstory, a location has a secret. You really feel like part of a living, dangerous world. Elden Ring. It's a game that teaches patience, challenges your skill, and lets you explore a world you'll never forget.
Death Stranding 2 on the beach? Let's be realistic. Death Stranding 2 isn't just a sequel. This game feels like a message from Kojima himself, saying, I haven't finished my idea yet. The moment I started playing, I felt the journey had become heavier, not just in terms of gameplay, but psychologically. The game returns with the delivery concept, but this time, everything is moving and more dangerous. The Magellan ship as a mobile base completely changes the feeling. You feel like you're actually traveling the world, not confined to a single map. And the worst part, the environment itself becomes your enemy. Floods, earthquakes, roads you relied on suddenly disappear, forcing you to rethink every move. And that's where the real fun begins. Combat is smoother and more direct. You can drop your bag and jump into a fight like you're in a full-fledged action game, especially against the new enemies and robotic threats. But despite all that, the game hasn't forgotten its roots. Walking, weight, and balance are still at the heart of the experience. Yes. Yes, some might find this annoying, but don't worry. There are now many ways to travel and communicate with thousands of players with messages, which is fantastic. It reminds us of Miyazaki's games and the countless player messages scattered on the ground. But be careful, some might be laughing at you. But narratively, Kojima has broadened the scope. It's no longer about connecting America, not even in Australia. And now the question is bigger. Did communication really save humanity, or did it slowly destroy it? Sam has grown older, heavier, and tired, and you can feel it in every move. Fragile takes on a strong leadership role, and Higgs's crazy and bizarre return makes you wonder what's going on inside Kojima's mind. Technically speaking, the game is terrifyingly beautiful. The Decima engine on PS5 delivers a realism that makes you forget you're playing. The details of faces, the reflection of light on tar, rain, mud, everything has weight. The water and mud aren't just effects, you feel them resisting you. Death Stranding 2 doesn't try to please everyone, but if it catches your eye, you'll live it. And honestly, many games today talk about realism, but few make you feel the world like this game does.
The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt? I'll be honest with you. I read the Witcher novels, watched the TV series with Henry Cavill, and then played The Witcher 3, and that's when I truly understood why players are so crazy about this game. The game is amazing in every way. The gameplay is smooth and deep, every fight has weight, and every decision has consequences. Your focus on resource management, choosing the right weapon for each monster, and using the sign system wisely, all of this makes you experience a real survival experience, not just a game. The best thing I did was master the use of magic with the sword. Man, it gave me an incredible feeling and got my adrenaline pumping. When you stand there and a monster appears that you might not be able to handle with a sword, but with magic, it freezes. This gave Geralt a terrifying presence. And the graphics are so stable. Wow, the open world is breathtaking. The forests, the mountains, the islands, and Skellige, even the details of Geralt's character, like his facial expressions and dirty clothes, everything is so perfectly crafted that you feel like you're actually in this world. The story is deep and epic. Geralt isn't a superhero. He's simply a man trying to survive in a shattered world. But his personality, his inner conflicts, his relationship with Ciri and Yennefer, every moment is emotionally charged. You make difficult decisions, feel guilt, joy, nostalgia, and even dread the consequences of your actions. I remember one night riding my horse Roach through a forest in Velen, rain falling, music playing in the background, fog blanketing the road. That's when I felt something different. I wasn't playing for XP anymore. I wasn't chasing trophies anymore. I wasn't following the map. Emotion hits you in the silent moments, the tension of facing monsters, the triumph after an impossible hunt, and even the small moments like sitting around a fire or listening to the game's legendary music in the countryside. Everything in the game makes you live the world, not just play it.
Oblivion. Honestly, some games feel like they've been eroded by time when you revisit them, while others reveal that they were setting the standards for modern RPGs long ago. Oblivion falls into the latter category. I remember the first time I emerged from the prison sewers and saw Cyrodiil in front of me.
The forest was green, the sun was soft, and Jeremy Soul's music played as if to say, "Hello, now waste your life here." This remaster isn't really a remaster. I think Bethesda might have created a remake and then forgotten calling it a remaster. But it truly doesn't feel like a minor improvement. It's something entirely new. The most striking thing about Oblivion is how alive the world feels. The Radiant AI system makes the characters eat, sleep, and argue. I once saw an NPC fighting with someone over a loaf of bread, and I wondered, am I in a game or an improvised play? And then the gates of the Oblivion start opening on the map. The first time you enter, it's both thrilling and exciting, but let me be honest, after the 10th time you start saying, same scenery, same hell. The open world is absolutely enchanting. You can wander through the forests of Tamriel. But come to the real gold, the quests and the guilds. The Dark Brotherhood in particular, genius writing, twists and quests that feel like a complete series. And the freedom? Be an armored knight, a mage crafting your own spells, or a master thief. True, the faces are old-fashioned, the combat sometimes feels wooden, and the level scaling can be frustrating because enemies always grow with you, but the magic is there. And that's what the creators of the legendary Skyrim do best. Absolute freedom.
No Man's Sky isn't your average space game. It's one of the greatest back-from-the-brink stories in gaming history. Launched in 2016 as a huge unfulfilled promise, it returned through more than 30 free updates and by 2026 had become such a completely different experience that you'd wonder, is this the same game? I remember the first time I returned to it after a hiatus. I took off in my ship, entered the atmosphere, and landed on a new planet smoothly and without any loading screens. And I literally said, wait, what's happening? The feeling that you might be the first person to reach this place is both terrifying and exhilarating, especially when you remember that we're talking about 18 quintillion planets within 256 galaxies. The chances that someone has seen this planet before you? Very slim. And the gameplay holds you on 4 clear pillars: exploration, survival, combat, and trading. Sometimes you become a trader, sometimes you build a base underwater or even in space, and sometimes you join seasonal expeditions and feel like you're part of a group journey. With crossplay, you meet other players on the station and continue together. Visually, the recent updates have dramatically improved the lighting, clouds, and water. But honestly, and I think I felt this after many hours, the repetition can be noticeable. The crafting interface can be confusing at first, and the combat is still simpler than in dedicated fighting games. But if you want to play No Man's Sky, play it as a game and a reminder of how insignificant we are in this vast universe.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Sometimes a game doesn't need to convince you of its story from the very first minute. It's enough to give you one clear feeling, that you're living in a harsh era and that your decisions resonate throughout the world. Assassin's Creed Valhalla did that for me in a different way. It's not just another Ubisoft Assassin's Creed installment, but a vast Viking journey that tempts you to forge your own roots. Well, let me tell you from the start, forget about enjoying it if you enter it looking to recall the Ezio trilogy or Assassin's Creed games that focus solely on assassination. Instead, you play as if you're living 800 years ago in the age of the Vikings and raids on England. It's pure magic. The most beautiful thing about it is the open world. England here isn't a map to run between icons, but a land whose tone shifts from gloomy marshes to tranquil fields and fortified villages, making exploration feel like a reward in itself. The gameplay pushes you into the role of a commander. Raids have a unique rhythm, beginning with the roar of ships, followed by a mass rush, after which you return to developing your settlement as if laying a new brick in a long story. The combat is heavy and satisfying, giving you a sense of weight with every strike, with room for stealth play for those who appreciate patience and precision. The graphics, especially the lighting, fog, and water, create stunning landscapes, and the music adds both awe and warmth. It's true that the length of the content can sometimes be tiring, and some missions can feel repetitive, but the magic of the journey remains. Perhaps my only complaint is Ubisoft's overemphasis on making the game an RPG. Well, I skipped the side quests and focused solely on the main story missions until I finished them, and the game lets you lose yourself in its world for hours. What captivated me most was the focus on nature and breathtaking landscapes. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, yes, the game that tells you if you want intense battles in the Viking Age, then yes, this is it.